Welcome to National Geographic Learning's Reach into Phonics Foundations training module for grades 4, 5, and 6. My name is Robin Amrine, and I will be taking you through this training module session today. National Geographic Learning is excited to introduce Reach into Phonics Foundations for grades 4, 5, and 6. Reach into Phonics Foundations delivers systematic and explicit instruction in phonological awareness, phonics, high-frequency words, reading, and writing. Reach into Phonics Foundations is truly next-generation phonics and high-frequency word instruction using dynamic, engaging, and flexible resources that includes an abundance of built-in scaffolding and other supports for children in grades 4, 5, and 6. This session covers grades 4 through 6 materials and instruction using the corresponding Teacher's Edition for grades 4 through 6. If available, please have your Teacher Edition handy. Let's get started. We will now overview the participant outcomes for today's session. First, participants will gain an understanding of the tiered intervention model. We will also take teachers through the Reach into Phonics Foundations design and purpose. Teachers will also gain an understanding of the program components utilized within the program, the lesson plan, lesson path, and corresponding resources, experience hands-on practice with phonological awareness, phonics, and high-frequency word lessons, and also utilize the assessment tools to assess mastery and monitor students' progress. Our goal for this session is to increase your knowledge of Reach into Phonics Foundations so you are equipped to begin tomorrow using Reach into Phonics Foundations with your students. A little perspective from G. Pinnell and I. Fountas. Quote, "Teaching phonics and spelling is to teach concepts within classrooms where children constantly use oral and written language for authentic purposes." Close quote. And on a lighter note, from the Family Circus, "Why do I have to keep writing in these K's when they don't make any noise anyway?" Why indeed. In our next slide, we will highlight the hallmarks of Reach into Phonics Foundations. Our first hallmark is the explicit, sequential, and systematic instruction, focused on foundational skills for students that need support in closing achievement gaps. The second hallmark is that these lessons can be used with one-to-one or small group instructional settings. The third hallmark is that Reach into Phonics Foundations can be used and should be used as Tier 2 instruction for students needing additional support outside of the core reading program. Let's take a look at the tiered intervention model. Tier 1. This occurs within quality core reading instruction along with small group instruction for differentiation. Students who are identified as struggling or at risk can be placed in Tier 2. Tier 2, using Reach into Phonics Foundations, is for students who need extra support to close the achievement gap as quickly as possible. This instruction is in addition to Tier 1 instruction. Tier 3 intervention is for students that have not made adequate progress in Tier 2 intervention and need intensive interventions. This instruction is in addition to Tier 1 instruction. Along the intervention continuum, we will highlight how Reach into Phonics Foundations works for grades 4 through 6. Let's take a few moments to review Tier 1 within the core reading program. Students are introduced to and practice weekly skills and concepts within the whole group setting. Students then review, practice, and are retaught through small group and learning station opportunities. Assessment then takes place through informal observations, weekly assessments, and unit assessments. Within the Tier 2 intervention model, utilizing Reach into Phonics foundations, we look at differentiation using results of formal and informal assessments to evaluate students' progress to determine the need for additional differentiation. Reach into Phonics Foundations provides intervention lessons and activities through explicit, sequential, and systematic instruction for grades 4 through 6. Finally, the Assess and Place. Placement assessment will help place students in the appropriate lesson in the program. Monitor progress. Periodic targeted mastery progress checks help inform teachers about mastery of skill or if additional review is needed. Students will show success and exit out of the program by scoring 80% or higher on the summative assessments. We will now take a look at our comprehensive teacher edition. Please note that your full teacher edition is also available for use online. Let's take a look at the contents of your teacher's edition, and please feel free to tab each section as we go through today's module. You will notice within the front matter that you will see a table of contents, the program overview, lesson procedures, pacing guides, sound pronunciation guide, lesson scripts, lesson plans, practice for lessons, assessments, and a glossary. Please feel free to pause the module here and take a look at the different resources available to you in your teacher's edition. We will now move into an overview of your detailed lesson plans that are available. You can find an overview of this page on Roman numeral 8 and 9 in your teacher's edition. We will highlight each feature within the next slide. You will see the lessons that are presented using a direct instruction approach with explicit modeling, guided practice, and opportunities for independent practice. Lessons include a teacher script, skill lessons, a student practice page, and a decodable reader that are seen here. The teacher script provides teachers with predictable routines to be used in conjunction with specific lessons. Skill lessons are also utilized within the program to introduce new sound spellings and review previously taught skills before students read them in the decodable text. Student practice is also provided and allows students to apply new knowledge of the sound spellings and high-frequency words. We will now move into the assessment overview slide that is found in your teacher's edition on Roman numeral 10 and 11. We will go into further detail of each assessment component and format as we get further into our training module today. We will now take a few minutes to highlight the different assessment opportunities available to you within Reach into Phonics Foundations for grades 4 through 6. Up in the left-hand corner, you will see the Placement and Summative Assessment overview. The Placement Assessment allows teachers to administer the placement assessment test that is found on pages 204 through 207. Once students are placed in the program, the assessment scores will also assist teachers in determining at what point in the program students should enter. Guidelines for implementing the placement test are found on pages 200 and 201 of the Teacher's Guide. The summative assessments, found on pages 204 to 207, are the same as the placement assessments. The difference lies in the point at which the test is administered and the order in which the sections are administered. Guidelines for implementing the summative assessment are found on pages 202 and 203 of the Teacher's Guide. You will also see reference to the mastery progress checks that are found on pages 209 to 239. These are periodic targeted mastery progress checks, and they are provided for teachers to administer throughout the program. The mastery checks are designed to inform teachers which skills have been mastered and which need to be reviewed. Directions for implementation of mastery progress checks are included, again on pages 201 and 202 of the Teacher's Guide and on the Teacher Script page. Last but not least, we see a schematic that outlines the flow of the assessment process. This is also found on page 201 of the Teacher's Guide. We will now see an overview of the mastery progress checks as they are administered throughout the program after the following lessons. Progress Check 1 after Lesson 5, Progress Check 2 after Lesson 13. You can see the continuum of progress monitoring as students work through the program all the way through Progress Check 9. We will now take a few minutes to preview the lesson procedures that are utilized within your program. These can be found starting on Roman numeral page 12 in your Teacher's Edition. The first lesson procedure is the group response signal. The group response signal is used as indicated in the lesson format and script to elicit responses from the whole group. Its purpose is to allow every student time to focus, think, and respond. In traditional responses, a teacher asks one student to answer, leaving the possibility that the rest of the group will not stay focused, think, or respond. In this program, we want all students to respond as often as possible. This is most effective when the teacher monitors the responses to ensure that all students are focused, thinking, and responding. Let's now take a look at one of these group response signal opportunities. First, the teacher will point, touch the letter, word, or sentence on which students are to focus using an instrument such as a pen. The focus is that students will see where they need to focus. Pause. Hold the instrument in place for the duration of think time, which is 2 to 5 seconds depending on the student's level of knowledge of the content. Think. Students see the pause and know how much time they have before the response is expected. Tap. Raise the instrument, make a small quick circle in the air, and bring the instrument down in the same place with an audible tap. This provides the pause. Respond. Students see and hear the response signal. Please take a moment and practice the group response signal format with a partner. Our next highlight in the lesson procedures is the affirmation and corrections format. The affirmations and corrections are essential for student learning. Students need to know how they are doing in their attempts to learn and practice new skills using immediate feedback. Affirm correct responses to let students know they are correct and encourage them to take risks when responding. That corrections are made explicitly and purposefully is critical. When the teacher hears erroneous responses, they should be immediately corrected before swiftly moving to the next step. Let's take a look at what one of those looks like within the affirmation scope. For the affirmation, we have 2 steps. We will step 1, correct student's response. Say, "That's right," and move quickly to the next item. If there's an unconfident response, we will say, "That's right, the answer is blank." Acknowledge the correct response and repeat it and move quickly to the next item. Now let's take a look at what a correction looks like. The correction will highlight the incorrect response. Say, "The answer is blank." What is the answer? That's right. The answer is blank. And move to the next item quickly. Do not belabor the correction. As you can see, students are moving quickly and effectively and purposely through the affirmations and corrections process. We will now take a look on Teacher Edition Roman numeral 13, the pacing guides for Pacing Guide A and Pacing Guide B. Pacing Guide A. The instruction is recommended on a daily basis. The program is written The program, as written, is designed to take a semester to complete. Pacing Guide B, instruction is recommended on a daily basis. The program can be used as an intervention that, as written, is designed to take a year to complete. Moving on to Teacher Edition Roman numeral 14 through 18, we will now highlight the lesson procedures that are utilized within Reach into Phonics Foundations. This particular resource that we see here is the Sound Pronunciation Guide, which is provided for teachers. Notice that these are divided by lesson, letters, marking, sound, and type. We will now take a look at the lesson scripts included in Reach into Phonics Foundations for grades 4 through 6. Script 1, which covers lessons 1 through 6, is found in your Teacher Edition on pages 2 and 3. I will now highlight 3 key features for each lesson script. The first feature is that each script notes the lesson or lessons that it correlates to. The teacher script provides explicit instructional sequence for skills in a predictable structure, and the sections in the script correlate to the sections in the lessons. We will now take a deeper dive into each lesson script format. We will begin, where we always should, with the lesson objectives. Here you will see a specific call out for the skill strand, word structure. High frequency words, phonological reinforcement, phonics, decoding, structural analysis, fluency, vocabulary, and coding with spelling and writing are the objectives for this lesson. In addition, we will also see the goals that students should be able to meet as they move through these specific lessons. You will see here that students should be able to identify target words both in and out of context, orally blend, segment, and manipulate target sounds and words presented orally, identify and produce target letter or sound correspondences. Please take a few moments to preview the remaining goals that students should be able to meet as they move through these lessons. You will also see sentence structure features called out within these lesson scripts. Notice here that the focus is on capitalization and punctuation, instructing students that we begin sentences and proper nouns with capital letters, and that we end sentences with appropriate punctuation. As we move through the specific lesson steps, we will focus on the lesson format, beginning with Part A. Part A consists of a warm-up, which is a very brief 5-minute activity. You will also see included any additional resources that you might need for this lesson. The warm-up is a quick-paced review of previously learned sound spellings and high-frequency words. As we move into sets 1 and 2 within our lesson, you will see the selected letter tiles displayed here as a material resource needed. Set 1. We will form and point to word 1. Teacher instructs, look at the word. Elicit whole group response. Teacher instructs, everyone say the word after the signal. Point, pause, tap, signal. Word 1, either affirm or correct. Repeat the steps for each word in the set. After all the words are presented, ask, in these words, which letter changed to form a new word? Was it first or last? Again, point, pause, tap, signal. First, affirm or correct. Now we will take a look at set 2. You will notice the consistent routine that is provided within each set of lesson scripts. You will also notice the affirmation and corrective response format that is also embedded in each lesson set. This particular lesson set will continue to form and point to the words in the list. Set 3 will be to display selected decodable words. Again, you'll point to word 1. Read these words after the signal. Again, point, pause, tap signal. Point, pause, tap signal each word while students respond, and again, use the affirm or correction routine. Now let's take a look at set 4, where we display the high-frequency words. Please take a moment to preview the routine again that is used in set 4. Notice that you will complete set 4 by repeating the words out of order, but following the same format. Now we will take a look at step B, introducing the high-frequency words. Notice that this is a brief 3-minute activity utilizing high-frequency words. In this particular set of the lesson script, you will see the modeled practice and the routine of see it, hear it, say it, spell it, and say it. You will display selected words. Teacher says, "Now we will learn new high-frequency words." Point to the first word. Monitor for whole group participation. This word says, say the word. Point, pause, tap, signal, affirm or correct. Say it again. Say each letter in the word. Say the word. Repeat the steps for each word. Again, practice each word by signaling students to read each word in order and out of order. Read each word on my signal. Again, point, pause, tap, signal, affirm, or correct. Now we will take a look at set C. This is the portion of the lesson where we will introduce the sound spellings. You will notice here that the letter tiles are utilized in this lesson set. Again, we will see the model practice that takes place. The see it, hear it, say it format continues, displaying selected letter tiles. Please take again a few moments to preview this portion of the lesson. As we move into Part D, practice sound spellings and high-frequency words, you will notice the increased time allotted for this particular activity. This particular activity includes the guided practice. You will assign partners A and B, or vary partners from day to day or week to week to provide student variety. Here you will see the format or the routine of see it, say it. You will segment and blend, guide practice, seeing the letters in the words, separating them into their individual sounds and blending the sounds into real words. Display the selected letter tiles. For the remaining sets, you will go through the format, reviewing and alternating between partners. Again, please feel free to pause the module and take time to practice the routines and instructional format of this particular lesson. Part E will be to practice sound spellings. Again, this is part of the guided and now independent practice that is allotted 10 minutes time. Now you will hear it, write it, and read it. Distribute the practice book page. Write your name on the top left side of your paper. For sets 13 through 15, you'll read the directions with or for students. Guide students through the page. Following set 13, partner A reads the first half of the set, and partner B listens and corrects. Partner B then reads the second half of the set, and partner A listens and corrects. Following set 14, partner B reads the first half of the set, and partner A listens and corrects. You can see the format as it continues following set 15. You will also see the answers embedded within the lesson plan. This page is intended to be done interactively and not independently or as homework. The independent practice portion is in the progress check for the lesson and indicates what each student understands when applying the new skills independently. Let's take a look now at the additional lesson scripts 7 through 72. Now it is your turn. Please find these on Teacher Edition pages 6 through 49. Take a few moments to peruse the lessons, find what is different, and find what is the same. Please feel free to pause the session for as long as you need as you work through this step in the training module. Now we're going to take a look at the actual format of the teacher lesson page. You will find this page on Teacher Edition 52. We will go into this lesson format in detail in the following slides. As we walk through Lesson 1, the first thing that you will notice is the plan. You will see here that there is no review skill, but we will introduce sound spellings and high-frequency words. Resources are also noted: letter tiles, high-frequency words, practice page 1, notebooks or lined paper, but there is no decodable reader used at this particular lesson. Similar to Reach for Reading, the guides for these lessons are provided within the lesson scripts, similar to teaching routines and strategies that the teacher uses to deliver direct instruction. If time allows, please find the lesson script for Lesson 1 and practice teaching this lesson with a partner. You will see here the teacher notes for this lesson. You will also see here the instruction. Follow the lesson script closely as indicated: the warm-up, the high-frequency words, the sound spellings and high-frequency words, and the practice sound spelling opportunity. This is a review of the previous slides as notated. You will now see a sample practice book page for Lesson 1. Please note that the practice book pages are meant to be done interactively and not independently as a homework opportunity. Students will work through the practice book pages as part of direct instruction. The independent practice portion is the progress check for the lesson and indicates what each student understands when applying the new skills independently. You may find a sample of this on Teacher Edition page 126. If time permits, please feel free to run through a practice book page with a partner. I hope that you have had an opportunity to preview not only the lesson scripts but lesson format and practice opportunities for the lessons found within Reach into Phonics Foundations grades 4 through 6. We will now take a look at the assessment portion of our program. The assessment covers 2 criterion reference components. These are located on Teacher Edition pages 200 and 201. The first is the placement and summative assessments and mastery and progress checks. Placement. The purpose is to determine whether this curriculum will appropriately support a student's reading progress in English. The placement or summative assessment is administered once before students enter the program. Summative. Purpose to assess integration and application of curriculum concepts and skills cumulatively. Placement summative assessment is administered once after the students finish the program. Now let's take a look at the mastery progress checks. The purpose is to monitor mastery of the concepts and skills taught in the curriculum and inform instruction for reteaching. Mastery progress checks are administered periodically throughout the program. There are 9 checks as students progress through the program. As we move into the administering, scoring, and interpretive assessments, we will see the placement assessment Administering, Scoring, and Interpreting. Again, these are located on pages 200 and 201 in your Teacher's Edition. First and foremost, the placement assessment is used to determine eligibility for this program. Administer the placement summative assessment and use the cutoff score for placement within the program. The assessment has two sections. Section 1, Phonemic Awareness and Basic Phonics. Section 2 includes advanced decoding, vocabulary, and morphology. While it is not scored as a separate section, students also apply knowledge of basic sentence structure. For placement within Reach into Phonics Foundations, 1. You will administer Section 2, Advanced Decoding, Vocabulary, and Morphology. If a student scores 80% or above in Section 2, discontinue testing. Placement in this program is not recommended for that particular student. Let's take a look now at the Mastery Progress Check form that is completed for each student. Students will need to achieve an 80% overall score on the assessment to meet proficiency. This is determined by the number of points a student earned compared to how many points were possible on the test. As you can see, if 70% of students scored 80%, move to the next lesson of instruction. For an individual student whose scores fall below 80%, analyze those skills involved in the errors. Reteaching the targeted skills missed is recommended. If a pattern of missed skills emerges when evaluating group scores, these skills will need to be reviewed with the entire group. If fewer than 75% of students scored 80%, analyze the errors and reteach all weak skills for the group. Directions need to be given verbatim to keep administration standardized. Item types include multiple choice and short answer. You will see here a matrix of the targeted mastery progress checks that are provided to monitor progress. Again, these are found on Teacher Edition pages 202 and 203. Scoring and interpreting of these assessments were reviewed in previous slides. You will see here the teacher copy of Section 1, Basic Phonics and High Frequency Words, and Section 2, Advanced Phonics, Multisyllable Words and Affixes, and Latin and Greek Roots. For placement, Lesson 1 begins with students who scored less than 80% on Section 1, and Lesson 39 is the start point for students who score 80% or higher on Section 1 and less than 80% on Section 2. As a reminder, students who score 80% or above on Section 2 are not to be placed in this program. Let's take a few minutes now to review the teacher scripts for placement and summative tests. Section 1, which covers basic phonics and high-frequency words, and Section 2, advanced phonics and Latin and Greek roots. You will notice that there is a student scoring sheet for each section of the assessment. In addition, you will also find profiles for the mastery progress checks. These are divided into lesson groupings as listed at the beginning of our training module today. We will now take a look at the digital resources available to you on www.myngconnect.com. You can access the Reach into Phonics Foundation's teacher resources through the main Reach for Reading webpage. As you log in and access your Reach for Reading Teacher's Edition, you will also be able to see the Reach into Phonics Foundation Teacher's Guide for grades 4 through 6 located on the far right side. Simply click on this icon and you will then have access to the full Teacher's Edition for Reach into Phonics Foundations. This provides a complete, comprehensive Teacher's Edition that is available to you at the click of a button, so you never have to take your teacher's edition home. You can also gain the additional resources used within Reach into Phonics Foundations through the resource directory. You can see here highlighted in blue the Reach into Phonics Foundations resource list, which includes practice book pages, the placement and summative test, and the mastery check. Simply click on each of these categories and you will see a comprehensive list of all resources available. Each document can be downloaded, saved, and printed from your laptop or desktop computer, and it includes, in this example, a practice book page for Lesson 1. You will also see reference to the word builder that is utilized within the program. This can also be accessed via myngconnect.com under Word Builder. Students will also have direct access to the Word Builder on their own student login page. We hope you have enjoyed this training module for Reach into Phonics Foundations. I hope it has been evident that Reach into Phonics Foundations is a comprehensive foundational skills intervention program for Tier 2 instruction. I would like to close with another quote from G. Pennell and I. Fontes. Quote, "Phonics is extremely important, but not sufficient in and of itself. Since only about half of the words in the English language are phonetically regular, readers need a wide range of language knowledge and strategies to solve words." Close quote. I hope that it is evident to you that Reach into Phonics Foundations provides this comprehensive scope of instruction. Thank you for participating in our training module today. Again, my name is Robin Amrine, National Education Consultant for National Geographic Learning.